A very good morning, dear children. Today we will continue with the last part of chapter 16, Heredity and Variation. Today we are going to discuss about genetic disorders. What are genetic disorders? Mutations in the genes or abnormalities in chromosomes are called as genetic disorders. This is the definition of genetic disorder. Here we have a new word, that is mutation. What do you mean by mutation? Now it's written mutation in genes, correct? Now we learned that when we had started with this chapter, I told you that every cell has a nucleus. In the nucleus you have chromosomes. Chromosomes are nothing but condensed DNA, and DNA is nothing but a combination or collection of a lot of genes together. Genes, I told you, was made up of nucleotides, and there are 4 types of them: A, T, G, C. Correct? I hope you remember that. Now, whenever I'm taking genes, I've told you what is a gene. A gene is a segment on the DNA that is coding for something. So every gene has a specific code, or it has a specific sequence of A, T, and G and C. Okay, so when I say there is a mutation in the gene, it means that there is some kind of a mistake happening in the gene. That is when you say that there's a mutation. Okay, I'll give you a picture here. Now if you look at this picture, both the pictures are showing you a segment of the gene. Okay, both are the same gene. Okay, so if you look at the first picture, the upper part of the picture, what is the sequence there? It is TAACTGCAGGT. That is the sequence of the gene. Okay, same gene is showing down, gene is shown down, but if you look at it, there is one mistake happening over there. Instead of T, C has taken the place of T. Now what is happening? Just for example, if this is a gene that is coding for some protein which is very important in the body, what is going to happen? Because there's a mistake in the gene, the protein which it is coding for, there will be defects in the protein, or the protein may be non-functional, it is not going to function properly. That is when you say that there is mutation in the gene. Okay, I hope this is clear. So that is the meaning of the word mutation in gene. Then it is written, or abnormalities in the chromosomes. Now when we learned chromosomes, we learned that humans have 46 chromosomes which are in the form of 23 pairs. Okay, so we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. When you say abnormalities in the chromosome, it means that in many people who are affected or who have this genetic disorder, they show increase in the number of chromosome or decrease in the number of chromosome. Sometimes some part of the chromosome gets deleted, or sometimes some part of the chromosome changes the location, or there's a translocation of some part of the chromosome. Whenever you have such a condition coming, you say that there is abnormality in the chromosome. So any person who has 47 chromosome will have this genetic disorder, or any person who has 44 or 45, that those people will also be called to have genetic disorder. Now what are examples of genetic disorders? Cleft lip, this is a genetic disorder. Albinism is another example. Sickle cell anemia, hemophilia. These are all examples of genetic disorders. We'll be learning all these examples, don't worry about that, but these are just examples so that you all may understand what is genetic disorder. Okay, so to begin with, this entire chapter is divided in whatever you see on the screen. Okay, so disorders, genetic disorders can be divided into 3: chromosomal disorders, which are further divided into Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, and Klinefelter syndrome. The second type of disorder is a mutation in the gene, which is divided into monogenic disorder and polygenic disorder. Monogenic disorders further divide into albinism and sickle cell anemia. And the third type of disorder is mitochondrial disorder. Okay, so let us start with the first one, that is chromosomal disorder. In that, we will be learning about Down syndrome. So, now, basically, when you say that there is chromosomal disorder, most of the time it's basically related to numbers. That means when the chromosome number, either there's an increase in it, or any one part, any one chromosome is missing, or any one chromosome is getting added. Okay, that is why it's called as, that is why these three are classified under chromosomal disorder. Okay, so we'll start with Down syndrome. You must have seen such children. They are basically those children who have Down syndrome. Okay, now what exactly is Down syndrome? Down syndrome is also called as trisomy of the 21st chromosome. I'll explain that. Just look at the picture which is given on the left hand side. Here it's showing you the chromosomes that are present in a human. Okay, I told you we have 23 pairs of chromosome. But if you look at the 21st position, when I say 23 pairs means I'm supposed to have two chromosomes everywhere. Correct? That is why I'm calling it as to be 23 pairs. But if you look at the 21st place, what is happening there? Instead of having 2 chromosomes, these children have 3 chromosomes there. That is why the condition is called trisomy. That means 3 chromosomes at the 21st position. Okay, so it's called as trisomy of 21st chromosome. Okay, so these are the children who have 47 chromosomes in every cell of their body. Okay, so they have 47 chromosomes. Normally these children are mentally retarded and they have a short lifespan. That means they won't survive more than 20 years. 16 to 20 years is the life expectancy of such children. Other than this, mental retardation obviously is the most prominent character that they show. Other than that, they have short height, they have short wide neck, they have very short fingers, they have very less hair or scanty hair. So these are the normal characteristic of a child who has Down syndrome. Okay, let's go to the next one, Turner's syndrome. Turner's syndrome is a condition which is normally seen in women. When you learn about female chromosome, a female normally has a chromosome of 44 plus XX. Okay, when you say you have 46 chromosomes, or when you say that you have 23 pairs, we learnt that 23 pairs means 22 are autosomes and 1 is sex chromosome. That is what we have learnt. Okay, so that is when you say, whenever you say that you talk about chromosome of a female, you say it is 44 plus XX. Normal female has 44 plus XX. However, when a woman has Turner syndrome, one abnormality that is normally seen in this is that you have the sex chromosome where XX has to be there, one X chromosome is missing. Okay, so this can be either because the 1X chromosome was not inherited from the parent, or there may be some inactivation of the gender related part of the X chromosome. Whatever it is, the woman has one chromosome less. That is why it's called as monosomy of X chromosome. That means mono means one. So monosomy of X chromosome means one X chromosome is absent. Such women are sterile. Sterile means that their reproductive organs, they are not properly, it does not grow properly, because of which the woman will be unable to have children. Okay, that is when you say that the woman is sterile. Okay, so this is the condition called Turner's syndrome. Going on to the next one, Klinefelter syndrome. Now this is very much similar to your Turner syndrome, but you have to be very careful. Do not get confused. Klinefelter syndrome is seen in men. Okay, in Turner syndrome you saw it in female. Klinefelter's is seen in men, where again here you have an abnormality in the sex chromosome. When you say about the chromosomal condition in men, it is 44 plus XY. Okay, but here what do you see? It is 44 plus XXY. Here one chromosome is extra. Which is that extra? One extra X chromosome is there. Here men are said to be sterile because their reproductive organs are not very well developed. Okay, so chromosomal disorder, Down syndrome, Turner syndrome and Klinefelter's. We'll move on to the next one. Now we're going on to mutation in gene monogenic disorder. Now when you say monogenic, here you have to understand the word mono has come, which means that these are the disorders which arise because of one gene being defective. That is why it's said to be monogenic disorder. Okay, approximately 4,000 different disorders only of monogenic is known till date. Okay, from that we will be learning albinism. Okay, now all of us have a pigment called as the melanin pigment being secreted in our body. This is a pigment which gives color to our eyes, our skin and our hair. Okay, it's also called as a brown pigment. In those people who have a large amount of melanin being produced in the body show a darker complexion, and for those who have very little amount of melanin show a fairer complexion. So albinism is a condition in which the body cannot produce melanin. So in such people, what happens? The skin becomes pale, the hair becomes white and the eyes are usually pink because of the absence of the melanin pigment in the retina. Okay, so this is albinism. Going on to the next one, sickle cell anemia. Now, we know that we have a protein called as hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein which normally is placed in the central part of the RBC, and this is a protein which helps in transport of gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide, from one place to another. Now it's obvious when I say that hemoglobin is a protein, it is understood that it's going to be made up of amino acids. Okay, if you look at the normal hemoglobin structure, the normal hemoglobin has glutamic acid as the amino acid which is in the 6th position. So if you look at the left hand side, it's showing GLU. So GLU stands for glutamic acid. So the normal hemoglobin has glutamic acid as the 6th amino acid in its molecular structure. Because of certain changes or because of mutations, what happens is that many a times this glutamic acid gets replaced by valine. So if in case glutamic acid gets replaced by valine, it gives rise to a sickle cell hemoglobin. That is, the entire shape of the hemoglobin molecule, it changes, and because the shape is changing, the RBC also changes. Normally the RBC is biconcave in shape. However, because of this tiny change in the hemoglobin's amino acid, it becomes sickle shaped. That is why this condition is called as sickle cell anemia. Because the hemoglobin is changing in its structure, the oxygen carrying capacity in this individuals also becomes very, very low. The normal symptoms which you see is swelling of the hand, swelling of the leg, there is very severe body aches are there, there is pain in the joint, frequent cold, cough will be there, and the hemoglobin content will be very, very low. Okay, so normally what happens is this is a hereditary disorder. disease. This is sickle cell anemia is a hereditary disease. That is why if the parents have sickle cell anemia, it is obvious that the child will also have it. But there are conditions when the parents may be carriers. Well, what do you mean by carriers? It means that the parent will have the gene of sickle cell, but it will be recessive, so it will not be expressed. Even though they have the gene, they will lead a normal life. However, if two carriers, if both the parents are carriers, the child may have a possibility of getting this disease. One very, very important problem that arises is that there is, because the shape of hemoglobin is different, because the shape of the RBC is different, this is what happens. That is, there is clumping seen. These RBCs, they do not flow very smoothly. If the RBC is biconcave, the circulatory system or circulation of the blood becomes very simple. But when they become sickle shaped, or when it is becoming sickle shaped, the obstruction starts happening, the circulation starts getting affected. There is clumping of the cells seen during circulation, and this can actually bring about damage of various organs like the brain, the lungs, the kidneys, etc. Okay, so this is actually a very serious condition. Now let us just check that in under what conditions will the child be born as a sickle cell sufferer. So here, if the father is a sickle cell sufferer, that is why I've written capital S, capital S. Okay, if the father is a person who has sickle cell anemia, the mother also has sickle cell anemia. If both the parents have sickle cell anemia, then the child will also be a sufferer. Okay, so this is the first condition. Let's look at the second condition. If the father is a person who has sickle cell, but the mother is normal. I repeat, the father is a sufferer, the mother is normal. What do you expect the child to be? It is obviously going to take in or inherit the characters of both the father and the mother. So, the child will be a carrier, which means that the child will have the genes for sickle cell, or they may have characteristics of that, but will lead a normal life. Okay, so this is the second condition. What is the third condition? If the father is a sufferer, the mother is a carrier. If the father is the sufferer and the mother is a carrier, there are two chances. 50% of them will be carriers and 50% will be sufferers. If one is, because obviously there's going to be one condition where it's taking S from the father and A from the mother. But the second condition is where it's taking S from the father, S from the mother. Okay, so this is the third condition. And what is the fourth condition? If both are carriers, then what? If both are carriers, then 25% will be sufferers, 25 will be carriers, 25% will be normal. Okay, so this is the fourth condition. Now, what are the remedies for this? Now, obviously, it is very important, because we know that this disease is going to spread only in one way, that is getting through the process of reproduction. So the husband and the wife should get their blood examined before marriage and also after it, to make sure that the person does not have this particular condition. If a carrier or a sufferer is if the person is a carrier or a sufferer, avoid marriage with another carrier or sufferer. So if you know that you are a carrier, avoid marriage with another carrier, because two carriers can have chances of having an offspring who has sickle cell anemia. Okay, and a person who normally suffers through sickle cell anemia is said, or is he or she will normally take a folic acid daily, because obviously the hemoglobin is getting affected. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now coming to the next one, that is polygenic disorder. Now here you obviously must have understood what I mean by polygenic. Poly stands for many. Whenever in any person many genes are getting affected, a joint or a combined effect will be the disorders which you see. Okay. Now in this, the examples are cleft lip. Now when you say cleft lip, it means that there's a split in the lip of that child. Okay, many a times it may be in the center, For some children it may be on the right, for some it may be on the left, or there are children who have both on the left and the right. Okay, so cleft lip is a polygenic disorder. There are even children who are born with cleft palate. What do you mean by cleft palate? It means that on the roof of the mouth there's a split. Okay, that is a cleft palate. These are all examples of polygenic disorder. Other than this, even diabetes, blood pressure, heart disorders, asthma, all these are examples of polygenic disorders. Okay, now when you say polygenic disorders, it also has a lot of effect which is based upon environment. What is the lifestyle of the person? What is the environment in which the person is? Which is the environment that you're continuously in contact with? All this also has a lot of effect on these kind of disorders. The severity or how severe it is going to be has also, that severity will depend upon a lot of other factors also. Okay, now coming to the last one, that is mitochondrial disorder. So mitochondrial disorder is what we are going to do now. Mitochondrial DNA it may also become defective because of mutation. So we know that mitochondria has DNA. Okay, so what happens is that because of mutation, that DNA may also be affected. Normally what happens is during fertilization. Now what is fertilization? Whenever the egg and the sperm, they come together and form the zygote. During this process of fertilization, mitochondria is given only by the egg cell. The sperm does not bring in mitochondria. Only the egg cell gives mitochondria. Okay, which means that the egg comes from the female. So only if the female has mitochondrial disorders, then only the child will have. Okay, that is what this picture is telling. Just look at the left hand side. Now here what is happening? The father is not affected, the mother is affected, so the children will be affected because egg comes from the mother and the egg has mitochondria in it. So if the mitochondria is defective, then the children will also have it. Okay, now if you see at the right hand side, the father is affected, but the children have nothing to do with it because the sperm that the father is giving does not have mitochondria in it. Okay, now one very very common example of mitochondrial disorder is Leber hereditary optic neuropathy, that is LHON. What is this condition? This is a condition in which the cells that are there on the retina, they are getting degenerated. Okay, or they are getting destroyed. So what is happening? As the person gets older and older, the vision starts becoming damaged or there is loss of vision seen. Okay, so normally in a normal vision this is how you see it, but a person who has Leber hereditary optic neuropathy, what happens is that it becomes blurred and suddenly there are spots that are seen. So the person starts losing his or her vision. Okay, I hope that whatever genetic disorders have been discussed today is clear to all. It's very important that you read your textbooks properly so that you understand it very well. Okay, so today what we have covered is from page 188 to page 192. Please read your text. Thank you.